Okay, hi there, and welcome to my 21.2 PowerPoint on ergogenic aids. So ergogenic aids are something that help you improve your sporting performance. Um, this could be physically or mentally. The four ways in which ergogenic aids are used is they can be physiological, psychological, they can help with training, and they can also help with our recovery. I'll explain later on how this happens in examples. You can also see in the top right corner of the picture is a person called Seb Coe, who is a British politician who has been heavily involved in the drug accusations as he was head of the IAAF at the time when the London Olympic Games were on. And obviously, the British government was under a lot of pressure of people accusing the athletes of the Olympic Games of cheating through things like anabolic steroids and blood doping. This is just one example of how real problems can be caused by ergogenic aids. A lot of controversy. So the key organisations, the first one is WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. They say on their website that they're founded with the aim of bringing consistency to anti-doping policies and regulations within sport organisations and governments right across the world. So their aim is to really try and tackle doping as a whole across a variety of different sports by launching various programs and funding to make sure the research is really detailed when going into this subject. UK Sport invest the national lottery money that is paid by taxpayers um, into things such as the Olympic Games. So the anti-doping process encourages athletes to rely more on psychological aids that are obviously completely legal, like listening to music instead of doing the illegal thing. So just ways round cheating, basically. Um, and there's a stat there that says there are 15,000 students and 640 successful cases of how they've actually managed to tackle the problem in a certain sport with a certain person or certain team. The IOC, they play a big part. International Olympic Committee play a big part in testing and trying for drugs just in the Olympic Games specifically, so they can really look at all athletes individually, and they most of the time look at all athletes who have won the gold medals just to double check they haven't done any doping, and if they are found out, then their job is also to strip the gold medals and charge any fines that may have to be charged. National governing bodies such as UCAD there were very prominent in lots of different sports to make sure no one is doing illegal drugs. So not just say in the Olympics, but in things like football, and also in the lower leagues of football. So there are different national governing bodies for different leagues. So you can really pick up on players who are doing illegal drugs that, for example, are not in the Premier League of football, who are always going to be checked very well, but in like the Championship, where teams may not be checked as thoroughly without with a different national governing body. So ergogenic aids, there's five types of ergogenic aids. There's pharmaceutical, there's nutritional, there's physiological, there's mechanical, and there's psychological. Um, an example of pharmaceutical is chemical manipulations in order to enhance performance. So caffeine or beta blockers that slow your heart rate down or increase your heart rate. An example of physiological ergogenic aids is something called EPO, or human growth hormone, in order to physio- physio- physiologically enhance strength or power or endurance. A mechanical is a mechanical ergogenic aid, something that is a physical item, for example. So it could be like compression gear to help keep the blood warm, keep the muscles elasticated, or shoes to make you more grippy. So this does enhance your performance, but in most cases it is completely legal. Psychological aids could be something like listening to music, imagery, or simply having the support from the crowd to boost your performance, to help you perform better. Nutritional is things that you just take in through food and drink, so something like Lucozade, or things you eat. So it could be carb loading in order to fill up your glycogen stores, and I'll go into explain a bit more detail now. So anabolic steroids is the first one. They are a physiological aid, and they're basically drugs that mimic hormones that are um, created by the body naturally, but if you inject more, then it will produce more that your body is actually producing naturally. Um, it regulates and controls how the body works and develops, and it works very similar to male hormone testosterone, which is very good for improving muscle growth in a sport such as bodybuilding, or something where you need a lot of power like shot put. Some people may take it to build muscle, and this is because in a sport like bodybuilding, where size does really matter, then it's good to have that sort of size from something where you don't need to try as hard to get it. It's like an easy way of getting it, basically. The positive effects of it is that it does help you train faster, longer, with better recovery rates. However, there are some serious side effects of it, and this is that you could have something that is known as roid rage, and it's basically the hormones really mess with your brain and the way you act, so you can become really aggressive. You can also have big mood swings, so you can become really happy or really sad, which could mess with your performance. And it can also lead to some types of hormonal cancer, so death in some cases. And it is illegal in most sports. The human growth hormone, this is produced by a gland within the human body. So again, it is produced naturally. Um, it is good for regulating your body composition. Um, it is you can see in the top right there, there's a picture of Lionel Messi, and he was actually under a human growth hormone when he was younger because he had a growth deficiency. But he took that and it helped him grow, so it can be beneficial because he's obviously arguably the best player in the world. But how he got there, it has been questioned to him in some cases that it is because he's been under these sorts of drugs, which could have benefited performance over the years. Um, it is most of the time not legal in a load of sports. The majority of sports, where there's big national governing bodies to decide what's legal and what isn't, it is most of the time not legal unless you have to take it because it's your health that could be at risk if you don't, obviously. The positive effects is that it does improve your regeneration of like muscles, so you can train more frequently. So as soon as you finish session, you're recovering really well. It gives you high energy levels, and it can increase your mass. Um, the negative effects, however, is that it can cause hyperglycemia, and it's been proven to affect female growth and maturation, and it has also been known in some cases to cause chronic knee insufficiency and swelling in the arms and legs. So this will obviously really badly affect your performance. So moving on to the next one, it's compression clothing. This is a mechanical ergogenic aid. You can see in the picture that clothing is worn by athletes in order to keep the blood flowing in certain parts of the body, as it helps with muscle elasticity and blood flow to the working muscles. Compression gear is very much legal in professional sports, as it has not been proven to actually really enhance your performance as far as speed goes or strength goes. It simply helps to make stretching and sometimes endurance better. Compression gear is not really used by heptathlon athletes because it does make you hot if you're wearing it. It would also affect the aerodynamics, so when you are running in something such as the 800-meter race, you're gonna want as little air resistance as possible. A sport used, however, with compression is basketball. In the NBA, you see it a lot because it helps players keep their shooting arm warm when they are sitting on the bench, so the muscles don't stiffen up and they're kept warm, and therefore the elasticity is kept much better than if they were not wearing it. So the positive effects of it is that it does keep the muscles warm, which will keep that elasticity there. So it is beneficial for shooters in basketball who are always on and off the bench. However, the negative effects are that if you are trying to play basketball when wearing compression clothing, like you can see in the pictures, then it can make you really hot, and that could be a big effect of your performance if you're very uncomfortable and very hot. So the next aid is a psychological aid, and this is music. It's something that's very popular amongst athletes in basically all sports. You see athletes listening to music all the time. Um, it's used before events in order to get the athletes pumped up or motivated, or it can also be used to get the athletes into a certain zone where they'll be at their highest level of focus. once, for example, a certain song is played, so they have a song that gets them into a certain frame of mind every time, and this could really benefit the performance. Music is completely legal to any athlete who wants to use it. However, during the actual event, it is not allowed because it could mean the implication of some sort of cheating if players are being told something that the other manager is unable to hear. The positive effects of music is that it really does help athletes get into the zone from my personal experience as well. Um, a zone that they may not even be able to get in without the aid of music, being able to focus them. This is because it may remind them of something in particular that gets them focused and motivated, and this could definitely improve an athlete's performance and motivation to do an event. The negative effects are that if the athletes before the event, and for example, have lost their headphones that they listen to, then this means that it could completely make them lose focus because they would normally rely on the same routine that they have. And if all of a sudden they didn't have the tool that they needed to listen to the music with, then it could really knock their confidence and they might be superstitious and think they're now not going to perform very well at all. And this could really affect them, obviously. So the next aid is caffeine. It's a nutritional aid, as you can see in the photos, used a lot in energy drinks. It's a natural chemical that's found in a variety of plants and is generally accepted by most sports scientists as an effective ergogenic aid. Athletes across different sports can use it because it gives you more energy to do aerobic and anaerobic exercise. It is, however, illegal in 2020 cricket in certain forms, but they can have it in the form of coffee because they can have it when they say, but they can't have it when they are, say, taking something such as caffeine pills, which is just intended to give you that boost. The positive effects of caffeine is it does give you energy simply because of the chemistry behind how it works. It can also work as a good placebo because if you are giving someone something with caffeine in it and say it's going to improve their performance, they'll think that this is going to make me better, sort of thing. So they're going to know they've taken something that should improve their performance, so they're going to go into it thinking they're going to play better than they normally would. The negative effect of it is that a lot of the drinks that contain caffeine, such as Red Bull and Monster, as you can see in the photos, most of the time are also very high in sugar. So if you're an athlete who's trying to stick to a strict diet plan, then this could cause you some problems while sticking to that and still wanting to get in a decent amount of caffeine, say before a workout. The final ergogenic aid is carb loading. This is where athletes or anyone preparing for physical activities such as cycling or long distance running eats a lot of carbohydrate foods, such as pasta. The picture above is not even really an exaggeration. Athletes actually eat food in this type of quantity in order to fill up the carbohydrate stores before the event they're about to partake in. And this is really good for anaerobic and aerobic activities. So, for example, in the heptathlon, really good for the 800-meter sprint. This is so they have as much energy from nutrition as they can give themselves. Athletes who use it would be someone such as Bradley Wiggins before a long climb in the Tour de France. The positive effects of carb loading is that it really does provide a lot of energy, readily available for whatever physical activity they're about to participate in. However, on the other hand, the negative effect is that if you don't do it long enough before the event, then it could cause the athlete to feel really full and not very mobile because of that. And if they haven't digested the carbohydrate properly, then it could really mess with them and make them feel really unmobile. Carbohydrate loading is available to all types of athletes, whether it be professional or elite or just grassroots level. This is because anyone can buy pasta from the shop, and pasta is something that's really high in carbohydrates. It's very easy to do. Just cook enough pasta, eat loads of it the night before the event, and you'll have good stores. That's been the end of my 21.2 ergogenic aids. Thank you for watching.